A dried pea, somebody's alarm clock. Tonight, you'll choose the exact minute tomorrow begins. One tap, and a machine promises to drag you from sleep precisely when commanded. For almost all of human history, that promise did not exist. No bell you could set, no buzzer, nothing. And yet fields got ploughed, prayers got prayed at 3 in the morning, and entire cities showed up to work on time. So, how did ordinary people wake on schedule before they could afford an alarm? Why did 2,500 people nearly riot over a clock made of cardboard? And why does your snooze button wait exactly 9 minutes? The answers involve a whistling water jug, a monk staring at the stars, and a woman who was paid, for decades, to shoot peas at strangers' windows. Artificial light has changed more than bedtime. Across the pre-industrial West, night often came in two halves. A first sleep, a waking interval around midnight, then a second sleep until dawn. In the early 1990s, researchers removed artificial light from modern volunteers' nights. Within weeks, their sleep divided again. The older rhythm may still be in us, paved over by the light bulb. So waking up wasn't a technology problem yet. Dawn was the alarm, the rooster was the backup, and for anything more precise, you listened. A village didn't read the time, it heard the time, rung out from the church tower, which explains a word you use every day. Clock comes from clocker, medieval Latin for bell. The clock is named after the sound that woke you, not the face you look at. But wake at dawn only works if your work starts at dawn. What if you needed to wake at a specific hour in the dark, and getting it wrong mattered? People solved that 2,000 years ago. With plumbing, the story goes that Plato, yes, that Plato, needed a way to wake his academy students at dawn. His fix, as later writers tell it, and as museum engineers have rebuilt it. A water clock with a temper. Water dripped steadily into a vessel all night. At the chosen level, it hit a siphon, and the whole load dumped at once into a sealed jar, forcing the air out through pipes. The result? A shriek like a kettle boiling in the dark. The first alarm clock, and it screamed. A century later, an engineer in Alexandria, named Ctesibius, refined the idea into a proper machine. Floats that rose with the water, tripped at the set hour, and dropped pebbles clattering onto a gong. Understand what that means? You could choose your wake-up time in 250 BC. And these weren't toys. The water clock stayed the most accurate timekeeper on Earth for roughly 1,800 years. Empires rose and fell, and the dripping jar remained the champion, until a pendulum finally beat it in 1656. On the other side of the world, China ran its alarms on fire. An incense stick burns at a steady, known pace, so you stretch a thread across it, holding two small bronze weights, and tie the knot at tonight's chosen mark. The flame creeps along for hours, reaches the thread, burns through, and the weights crash onto a gong beneath. Some incense clocks, historians believe, went further. Different scents packed at different stages, so the night shifted from one fragrance to another. You could smell what time it was. Then came people whose schedule made precise waking non-negotiable: monks. Monastic rules fixed prayer 7 times daily, including matins around 2 or 3 in the morning. Every night, the entire house depended on one designated monk waking first, in darkness, to ring the bell. He watched the stars, burned candles marked by the hour, and used water clocks that could freeze during northern winters. One unreliable human wake-up call became a powerful engineering problem. In the late 1200s, that problem helped produce the mechanical clock. Here is the detail almost nobody knows. The earliest examples often had no dial and no hands. They did not display time, they rang bells automatically. The alarm came first. The face came later. Fast forward 500 years to New Hampshire, 1787, and possibly the most stubborn invention ever built. Clockmaker Levi Hutchins insisted on waking at 4 a.m. every day. No other hour would do. So he built himself an alarm clock, America's first, with one setting, 4 a.m. It could ring at no other hour. He never patented it, never sold it, never changed it. One man, one machine, one opinion about mornings. An alarm you could actually set was not patented until 1847. French clockmaker Antoine Redier let the owner choose an hour by placing a pin in the corresponding hole. That solved one problem. The machine could obey your schedule. It did not solve the problem of who could afford the machine. Factory time was becoming stricter precisely while reliable alarms remained beyond many workers' budgets. The clock could now wake one household. Industrial cities needed something that could wake entire streets. Industrial work made waking late expensive. Mill bells sounded before 5 in the morning, beginning shifts that consumed 12 to 14 hours, more than half the entire day. Arrive minutes late and you were fined. Keep arriving late and you lost the job. Workers even accused some owners of nudging the factory clock forward, so honest arrivals turned into finable ones. So the market invented something better than a machine, a person. They were called knocker-uppers, and for a few pence a week, they walked the dark streets with long bamboo poles, tapping on upstairs windows until you showed your face at the glass. They did not leave until you were up. In mining towns, families chalked their shift times on little slates by the door, a wake-up order written on the house itself. Police constables on night patrol quietly doubled as knocker-uppers for an extra shilling. And in East London, Mary Smith skipped the pole entirely. Her tool was a rubber tube loaded with dried peas. One pea fired at one dark window became somebody's alarm clock. 6pence a week and no machine to buy. Her daughter later inherited the round pea shooter and all. Which raises the question the Victorians themselves turned into a tongue twister. Who knocks up the knocker-upper? The wonderfully practical answer was that most lived shifted lives and stayed awake through the night. William Crompton, who woke Manchester's workers for 50 years, used an alarm clock himself. One man owned the machine, so an entire street did not have to. Here's the number that should shock you. This profession, a stranger paid to throw peas at your window, survived in industrial England into the 1970s. There are people alive today, with smartphones in their pockets, who were once woken by a professional. The machines won slowly, then all at once. In 1876, Seth Thomas patented the little back-winding bedside alarm, the round two-belled shape you still picture when someone says alarm clock. In 1909 came the West Clock's Big Ben, and a year later it became the first alarm clock advertised to an entire nation. Prices fell. The pole tappers and pea shooters faded street by street. Then the alarm clock got its final proof, by disappearing. In July 1942, America halted clock production. The brass was needed for the war. Old clocks broke, workers overslept, factories logged absentee after absentee, and employers begged Washington for relief. The government answered with the war alarm, housed in pressed wood and paper pulp. It used 1/10 of an ounce of brass instead of 6, roughly 1/60th as much, and sold for $1.65. Production reached only 1.7 million against normal demand of 12 million, barely one clock for every 7 wanted. So on March 20th, 1944, when one Chicago store advertised 1,500 of them, 2,500 people showed up. 1,000 more people than clocks. Women fainted, clerks were trampled, 4 display windows shattered. A near riot, in the middle of a world war, over cardboard alarm clocks. That is how much civilization had come to depend on a machine that interrupts sleep. And the snooze button? 1956, General Electric. The engineers, so the story goes, couldn't make the gears deliver a clean 10 minutes. It was 9 and change, or 10 and change, and they chose 9. Digital clocks copied it. Phones copied the digital clocks. Your smartphone bows to a gear problem from 1956, 200,000 years of mornings. For nearly all of them, waking on time meant the sun, a bell, a burning thread, or a stranger with a pea shooter. And it cost real money. You now carry a flawless alarm in your pocket for free and use it to negotiate 9 minutes at a time with yourself. Next question. Before refrigerators existed, how did your great-grandparents keep food cold? The answer arrived on a wagon. A coffin of lake ice delivered by a stranger. That story tomorrow.